Hello my friends, my name is Father Glenn and it is my great joy to be here with you today to share a little bit about video games. I'm sorry that I couldn't do this presentation in person. I got called away to film a Mass for Father Mike Day, which will be for our grade 8s in February. So, video games. Alright, let me please show you the love of my life from the late 80s, the video game Contra Contra. Here we go. Prepare yourself for the amazing graphics. Here it is. Now, the key to this game was to know the code to get infinite lives, which was up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. Here we go. Check that out. Look at that scenery. Isn't that amazing? Oh, gripping. It was sort of like Rambo-inspired video game with the very best of 16-bit graphics. So that's just a taste of video games from my youth. Now, that's probably laughable when you see that now, because the video games that we have today are stunning. They're really more like movies based on their the complexity of the storyline, the realism of the graphics, and the sense of immersion it almost gives you when you're playing the game. So that raises some really important questions. What values are you being taught by the video games that you play? I remember in particular a video game from the 90s that was called Sim City. And what it was is that you got to be the mayor of a town. And it really challenged me because A, I wasn't good at it until I found out a code to get infinite money. But B, it really highlighted how as the mayor of a city, you had to take into account the needs of everybody in your town. And if you didn't do so, then the crime rate would go up, or citizens would revolt, or sometimes there was even like a natural disaster that struck and you had to respond. It really taught me about the importance of looking at the needs of everyone, and that in order for my city to do well, I had to raise up everyone at the same time. And that game taught me a really great value. Other games, though, that we have now, which are just, they don't really uphold the dignity of the human person, which means they don't teach us to value other people. It's more about I raise myself up by pushing other people down. So I don't want to say that all video games are bad or that all video games are good, because that's not true. But part of being a leader, which you are learning as your involvement with the Braided Journey programs, is to ask critical questions. So the critical question that we're first asked or called to ask ourselves about video games is, what values is this game teaching me? Is this teaching me how to grow as a human person, how to lift up other people, to work as a team, to value what is good and right and just? Or is it taking me away from that? So that would be my first set of questions I invite you. What value is this particular video game, or my favorite video game, teaching me? The next piece about video games is that they can take up a lot of time. Like, it's great in that, like during COVID, like when things were shut down and we couldn't do anything, we couldn't go anywhere, a lot of people bought video game systems because you had time to waste on them. But at the same time, there are other activities that we can be using our time for. And I know I am like so guilty of this. Like, I spent a lot of time playing this game and a game called Super Ninja Turtles and Meteor Man, like all kinds of stuff. And I remember my mom saying to me, Glenn, why don't you go outside and get some exercise or play with your friends. And I couldn't see that the video games, no matter how fun they were, in a way were kind of isolating me. Now, one good part of video games was when we play like a two-player game such as Contra, I could just spend time with my friend, or friends, which was great. But at the same time, the downside was if we played it too much, it didn't allow us time to get to know each other and spend time doing other things like going outside and riding our bikes and exploring the world. So there's definitely a need for balance when using video games and asking critical questions, because we want you to be leaders, to ask, is my use of video games balanced? Like, how much time am I giving to this video game? And is it in proportion or balanced relative to other important things in my life, like my friends, my family, my schoolwork, and my health? So we have first our question about what values is this video game teaching me? And the second is, how much time am I dedicating to it? And is that a good amount, or should I decrease it? The third piece is, especially about being a leader, is that we want you to develop the skills of moving from being a consumer or a user of video games to a creator. Because this is what leaders do. Leaders break new ground. They make things so that other people can use them or be a part of a group or a video game. So, but how do you do that? Well, let me show you this really cool thing. So this is what's called a Raspberry Pi. And it is, if you open it up, it is a tiny computer. It's not as fast as this Mac, but it's pretty close. Like, you can go on the internet with this. With these pins that it has here, you could make a robot that you can control remotely. You can, using this port right here, you can connect a camera and make, you can make a video camera out of it. There's a device that can be attached to one of these ports here that you can turn this thing into a cell phone. And it's been designed to be as low cost as possible. I think this was about $40, which is still a lot of money. But what it does is it teaches you how computers work, how to program, especially you can also use it to program games. And it's designed for young people your age. Here's the little book that goes with it. It's called the Raspberry Pi User's Guide. And it is a great tool to be able to move from being a user of technology to a creator of technology. And that's a skill that we would love for you to develop through your time with Edmonton Catholic Schools and the Braided Journey program. And I highlight this because, like, when I was in school, we were doing math and science and language. It was just like, I didn't always see the point of it. Like, it wasn't exciting. Like, for me, if I want to do something, it needs to be fun. And I like to do things that are fun. And video games are fun. That's why I would like to play them. But this computer program and this hardware, what it allows you to do is to take all the science and the math and the languages that you're learning and create a video game. Like, suddenly all that math and science becomes an opportunity to create something awesome. It makes it more fun, which is why I kind of highlight this idea. So I actually have this is an extra computer that I have, and if there was a Braided Journey group that would be interested in learning more about kind of computers and how this could be used for like programming and gaming, I could totally give you one of these, and maybe we could do something to get some more if there are people who are interested and keen. Now, you really got to want to learn to do it, but it would totally be worth it because it helps that math and that science to come alive. So that's the idea of, like, how could you take your video game usage and move from being a user of video games into a creator? So those are the 3 points I'd like to offer you for discussion. What values are my use of video games teaching me? How much time am I putting into it, and could I be using that time for other things? And thirdly, how can I move from being a user of video games to a creator? Thanks so much for the time to be with you, and I hope you have a great day. Sorry that I couldn't be there in person. I miss seeing all of you, and I hope that you all have a wonderful week. Take care. Bye.